All right, for AFEX commodities updates, in 35 deals, over 70,000 contracts were recorded on the AFEX Commodities Exchange in the week of 26th of April to the 3rd of May, valued at 1.22 billion naira. Let's get details from Michael Martin, our portfolio manager at AFEX. Hello, Michael. Great to have you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me once again.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, bring us up to speed with the week's activities at the market in the week under review.
Thank you very much, Ladi. So if you look at the table in front of you, over the course of the week, we saw the total value of transactions traded on the exchange go up by 103.33% from around 0.6 billion naira to close at 1.22 billion naira. The total number of contracts traded on the exchange also went up by 75.27% from around 40,127 contracts to close the week at 70,332 contracts. The total number of deals also went up in tandem by 133% from around 15 deals to close the week at 35 deals. We however saw a bit of red with the AFEX Commodities Index, which is the ACI, which fell by 1.52% from around 384.04 to 381.89. We also saw a significant decline in the AFEX Export Index, which fell by 8.02% from 159.35 to 146.57. Next, we also have the volume of contracts traded on the exchange. And if you look at the graph in front of you, you would see that we had very little activity across board except for maize, which went up from 40,006 contracts to 70,001 contracts. And also with cashew, which went up from 119 contracts to 300 contracts. All other commodities traded little to no volume at all in the week under consideration. With regards to price, the top and only gainer for the week was cashew, which went up by 7.20%, gaining 2,880 naira in the contract value to close the week at 42,880 naira. With regards to the top losers for the week, we have cocoa, which fell significantly by 15.86%, losing 16,400 naira in the contract value to close the week at 87,000 naira per contract. Next, we have maize, which went down by 1.04%, losing 200 naira in the contract value to close the trading week at 19,000 naira per contract. And lastly, for commodities, we have soybean, which went down by 0.38%, losing 115 naira in the contract value to close the trading week at 30,750 naira per contract. And lastly, but definitely not least, is the fair trade exchange traded commodity, which still remains unchanged at 14,008 naira per contract. And as we always say, if you want to get more, if you want to know more rather about the commodities market, you can always go to our website, which is www.afexnigeria.com. And if you want to get involved trading commodities, you can always download our app, which is available on iOS and Android.
Now, Michael, we are seeing commodities super cycle globally at the moment, but the prices of commodities on your exchange don't seem to be reflective of that. Maize price, for instance, is pretty high on the global commodity market, but we see maize down on the AFEX exchange, and we see a couple of those commodities also looking down. How would you explain this?
So, I mean, one of the first things you must note, especially when comparing local Nigeria prices with the international market, is that the dynamics that underscores both markets are different in some sense, right? So when you're talking about maize prices in the local market, you're taking into account all the macroeconomics that underscores production, all the macroeconomics that underscores the supply of those commodities, and then the eventual delivery. In the international market, it's sufficiently divorced from the physical market, because what you would notice in the international market is the fact that it's mainly futures that are traded, and 90% of them are not for delivery. So meaning that a lot of people that are taking positions in the international market, they are taking those positions, right, mainly for price appreciation, right, so that they can make a lot of money, right? But in the physical market in Nigeria, which is of course the country under consideration, there is a bit of the physical market infrastructure to take into account anytime we're reporting price and anytime we're reporting the dynamics that occurs in the commodities market.
Right. All right, Martin, we noticed that cocoa prices didn't move for months, only to see a decline in the price. Can you explain, what is happening in the cocoa market?
So, I mean, as we have alluded to in previous months, so we have seen a significant decline in the availability of the main crop, cocoa, meaning that the season started way earlier in the month of August, and then it more or less had been drawn down till the month of May, which is the current month that we're in. So the pricing that you're currently seeing being reported is what we refer to as the light crop, which is significantly less heavy in some sense, right? The weight is usually different, and usually, so the standard measurement for cocoa is usually, if you have cocoa beans, you have 300 cocoa beans and you measure them. For the main crop, you would ideally get something just above 300 grams, and what that means is that the average cocoa beans is above 1 gram. When you're taking the light crop supply, which is what we currently have in the cocoa market, into consideration, and you measure the same 300 cocoa beans, you're most likely to get something below 290, something around 280, or maybe even 275 in some cases. And what that essentially means is that the weight of the average cocoa beans for the light crop is significantly less, or is less rather, than what you have for the main crop. So because of that weight differential, you very often have a discount. Very often have a discount with the light crop in comparison to the main crop. Hence why you're seeing that significant price decline.
And then we saw cashew, gaining. Wondering what drove that gain there.
I mean, so after launch, we expected to see a lot of activity in the cashew market, but we didn't see. I mean, that could be due to a lot of different factors. Maybe a lot of people were not willing to participate in the market at the time. But what we are seeing, or what we have seen in the past week, is a lot of significant activity in the cocoa market, causing the price of the cashew contract to appreciate, particularly on the exchange. So, I mean, it's a bit of the dynamics between the supply and demand for cashew. We expected to see a lot of activity at the outset, which we didn't see, but we are now currently seeing those activities on the exchange.
All right, with the insecurity challenges in Nigeria, there is fear that Nigeria may plunge into famine soon. Meanwhile, most farmers say there isn't enough for the strategic reserves. Where and how does the commodities market play a role here?
I think we've spoken about this a bit in the past, right? So the insecurity challenges means that, okay, as you have mentioned, that we might have food insecurity in the country. But one of the things that we do as an exchange, right, is our ability to leapfrog some of the current infrastructural deficits that we have in the agriculture value chain, and then be able to guarantee the supply of commodities to whoever would need it at any point in time. And it also feeds into some of the conversation that we've had in recent time, where we are actually scaling up our input financing program, which is one of the major programs that we do as an exchange, right? So last year we reached out to 35,000 farmers. This year we're trying to reach out to between 150,000 to even almost 200,000, right? So when you think about that in terms of the scale at which we might be able to increase production, considering the food insecurity issue that we're currently confronted with, I think we as an exchange are taking steps in the right direction, just from the point of view of increasing supply. With regards to the other infrastructural issues, I think we would need the help of other players in the agricultural value chain, particularly with the government, helping us with the security issues, so that the movement of commodities from one place to another can be more seamless, as opposed to what we're currently having in the commodities market nowadays. So for us as an exchange, first of all, the ability to guarantee price, quality, and quantity still remains pivotal for us as an exchange. And then secondly, the ability through our own input financing program to increase the production numbers for smallholder farmers has now become even more important than ever in light of the current food insecurity and insecurity issues that we are having in the country.
All right, thank you very much, Michael. In the meantime, on the 4th of May, AFEX launched its 5-year impact report that looked to measure their impacts across 5 key SDG goals, particularly no poverty, low hunger, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, and responsible consumption and production. Well, to tell us more about this impact report is the Vice President Financial Markets at AFEX, Akinka Akintunde. Thank you very much, Akinka, for joining us. Good morning. Well, discourse on the need to achieve food security in Nigeria and Africa at large is now more important than ever. In line with this, how will you say AFEX has helped over the last 5 years to contribute to food security goals of the government?
For that, as you rightly mentioned, there's increasing awareness around the need for food security for the country, especially after what we went through last year as regards the pandemic, right? On the global national level, the government is putting all resources in place to ensure that all the way from production, which is where you typically start putting structures in place to ensure food security, up to the point where you have already market, everything is available and works smoothly. At AFEX, what we've done is to ensure that we have access to smallholder farmers who are critical and key to these production activities. Production typically starts from access to quality inputs in a timely manner, which has been the gap for most of the smallholder farmers producing these for a while. So at AFEX, what we do is to ensure that the appropriate structure that is required to ensure that the appropriate production that is required to ensure food security and the smallholder farmers are available, and the smallholder farmers are empowered with access to the appropriate inputs in a timely manner, and very much more importantly, access to the required financing that they will be able to carry out these production activities. And if you look at it, this ties directly to SDGs 1 and 2, which speaks to no poverty and zero hunger. We believe that if you could put appropriate structure at that level, the ripple effect across the economy will be very, very much apparent for all key stakeholders.
You might want to turn down the volume of your TV there so we can hear you better. Anyway, at the core of promoting food security are smallholder farmers who produce about 80% of total commodities consumed and available for export. Based on the capacity you play at AFEX, how would you measure AFEX impact on smallholder farmers in the last 5 years?
So, like I rightly mentioned, right, the core of our activities are focused on smallholder farmers in terms of being able to give them the appropriate capacity to increase their production, right? So what we do to a large extent is to ensure that the appropriate structure required to, first of all, identify who these smallholder farmers are put in place. For any smallholder farmer, firstly, is that identity. Do we know who the smallholder farmers are? Can we identify them? Can we give them the appropriate structure? Financing is a key gap that has always been missing across all production activities. And the smallholder farmers, as rightly mentioned, are responsible for the production of over 80% of the food we consume locally, right? So ensuring that everything that is required at the smallholder level is in place is required. I like citing the example of agriculture being one of the highest contributors to GDP at about 24% of GDP. But yet, access to finance or commercial capital available to this set of people is currently below 5% of commercial capital out there. There needs to be more efforts in place to ensure that these smallholder farmers have access to capital to be able to carry out their production activities.
Mr. Akitunde, we did appeal to you to turn down the audio of your television. We did appeal to you. I mean, that audio is not really coming out right. And well, we do appreciate your time on the program. We'll take a moment now. We'll be back.